The movie opens with an emotional scene where US Marine sniper agent Mike bids a heartfelt farewell to his girlfriend Jenny at the airport. The emotional gravity of his goodbye sets the tone for the story as Mike departs via helicopter to embark on his next covert mission. We soon find Mike alongside his spotter Tommy strategically positioned on a cliff with a sweeping view of an expansive desert below. They patiently wait with an air of tension and anticipation for their target to emerge. Well, this target is no ordinary target. They're on the lookout for Saeed, a high-profile and significant sought-after individual. As Mike and Tommy maintain their position, a dynamic unfolds below. They observe a congregation of people as several armed vehicles approach. This gathering, as Mike soon realizes, is not a typical meeting, it's a wedding, possibly with Saeed playing a crucial role, potentially as the father of the groom. The plot thickens dramatically when Mike is faced with an ethical dilemma. The commanding voice over the radio, along with Tommy, urges Mike to execute the mission. However, Mike, realizing the target might be intertwined with the wedding, hesitates. The situation becomes even more complex when the groom and bride inadvertently shield the target. Faced with a direct order to eliminate the groom to reach Saeed, Mike grapples with his conscience, unable to justify taking an innocent life. In a moment of moral defiance, Mike falsely reports to his command center that the target is lost. The tension escalates rapidly when the ceremony's armed guard spots Mike and Tommy, and a frantic gunfight ensues, forcing the duo into a hasty retreat with the armed men in hot pursuit. Wait, hold on. Did you subscribe to our channel? Come on guys, you're here, you're watching the video, help us out by hitting the subscribe button as it really helps out me and my team to make more videos for you guys. And now, let's get back to the recap. During this chaos, the target, Saeed, seizes the opportunity to escape. Mike and Tommy, now on the run, unfortunately damage their GPS and seek refuge behind a rock formation. In a quick-witted move, Mike devises a distraction, steering the pursuers in a different direction, showcasing his survival instincts and tactical prowess. Their situation grows more dire when they're informed that evacuation is possible only if they traverse the harsh desert terrain to reach a village 5 hours away. This grueling journey, marked by sandstorms and extreme heat, tests their endurance. During this tiresome trek, Tommy attempts to lighten the mood by sharing anecdotes about his son back home, providing a glimpse into his life outside the battlefield. The story delves deeper into the characters' personal lives when Tommy notices Mike's silent, contemplative manner. He encourages Mike to open up about his troubles, and Mike confesses his reluctance and fears about proposing to Jenny, revealing a more vulnerable side to his otherwise poised personality. Tommy, in a blend of humor and wisdom, reassures Mike, sharing insights on the initial challenges of marriage and the eventual ease that comes with time, offering a rare moment of human connection amidst their risky situation. In the heart of the desert, a sudden gust of wind ushers in a chilling vibe, sending a warning sign fluttering to land threateningly close to Mike and Tommy. This sign, stark and foreboding, echoes a grim reality. The desert is a minefield concealing 33 million landmines buried over the past 4 decades. Mike, ever vigilant, takes this warning to heart, his mind clouded with caution. Tommy, on the other hand, remains skeptical, dismissing the sign as merely a psychological tactic to deter enemies. Despite Tommy's assurances, Mike couldn't shake off his apprehension. He proceeds with heightened caution, each step measured and deliberate. Meanwhile, Tommy, embodying a carefree spirit, jokes about Mike's tendency to overthink, walking backwards a few yards ahead, a light-hearted banter in their tense journey. In an instant, the atmosphere shatters, and a sinister click pierces the air, followed by a deafening explosion. Tommy, unwittingly, has stepped on a landmine, and the blast leaves him temporarily deaf, and as the dust settles, a horrific scene unfolds. Tommy has survived, but at a terrible cost. His legs have been severed below the knees, and his screams of agony tear through the silence, his body wrecked with unbearable pain. Mike, momentarily frozen in shock, takes a step toward his injured comrade, only to hear another ominous click under his own foot. Time seems to stand still as he realizes that he too has stepped on a landmine. Paralyzed with fear, Mike watches helplessly as Tommy, amidst screams and shivers, clings clings to the thoughts of his son, finding just enough strength to administer morphine to himself. In a desperate attempt to reach his radio, Tommy is again overwhelmed by pain. Witnessing his partner's suffering, Mike, still immobilized by the landmine beneath his foot, offers a grave proposition: to lift his foot in hopes the mine is old and inactive, risking his life to aid Tommy. But Tommy, strong in his refusal to let Mike sacrifice himself, draws his gun in a heart-wrenching display of determination. He insists that Mike's survival is paramount, and in a final act of selfless bravery, turns the gun on himself. His tragic decision leaves Mike alone, screaming in grief, stranded amidst the unforgiving sands. Exhaustion soon overtakes Mike, and he's forced to kneel, still tied to the spot by the landmine, engulfed in a profound sense of solitude and despair. This scene, stark and harrowing, underscores the brutal reality of their mission and the unrelenting harshness of the environment. Soon after, Mike finds himself in a dire situation, realizing the urgent need to retrieve the radio lying next to Tommy's body several yards away. And being very resourceful, Mike ingeniously ties his shoelace to the axe, attempting to drag the radio bag toward himself. However, his initial relief turns into despair when he discovers the radio's battery is dead and the spare is still on Tommy's body. Not one to give up easily, Mike conceives another plan. He rings a makeshift solar-powered charger, using the harsh desert sun to his advantage. And this actually pays off, and Mike successfully re-establishes contact with his superiors. Eager for rescue, he requests immediate evacuation, but the response was disheartening. Frequent sandstorms in the area make it impossible for helicopters to reach him. The best they can offer is a convoy rescue, but it will take a grueling 52 hours to arrive. Frustrated and dispirited by the news, Mike listens to his commanding officer suggest an unthinkable alternative: digging a ditch and jumping into it, risking limb loss but potentially escaping the landmine. Faced with this grim option, Mike chooses to endure the wait, setting a countdown on his watch, clinging to hope amidst despair. As if to test his resolve further, a massive sandstorm descends with full force. Mike, determined and steadfast, manages to remain immobile, enduring the storm's fury. When the storm finally stops, Mike is confronted with a heart-wrenching sight. The storm has shifted Tommy's body closer, bringing the spare battery within reach, but at the same time, it has swept the radio far beyond his grasp. Time drags on, and Mike's situation grows increasingly desperate. His water supply dwindles to nothing, and just then, a figure appears in the distance, a man walking in a zigzag pattern toward him. Mike tries to warn the stranger about the landmine, but the man mimics Mike's actions mockingly, seemingly aware of the danger. Despite Mike's attempts to convey his hardship, the man insists that Mike take the next step, then inexplicably takes Mike's water flask and disappears into the desert. Hope flickers again when a little girl appears, approaching Mike and returning his water flask, now miraculously refilled. Gratefully, Mike quenches his intense thirst, and the girl, though silent, communicates through her toy soldiers, seemingly echoing the same message as the man, that Mike must be brave enough to step off the mine. Desperate for help, Mike asks the little girl to retrieve his radio, but she didn't understand his request. In his frustration, Mike's voice raises, inadvertently scaring the girl away, leaving him once again alone in his horrific situation. As night descends upon the desert, the temperature drops, bringing an added layer of challenge to Mike's already dire situation. Despite these harsh conditions and the threat of animal attacks, Mike manages to survive the night, defending himself with the last remnants of his strength and resolve. With the break of dawn, the same man who had previously visited Mike reappears. Once again, Mike implores the man to fetch the radio, and this time the man agrees, retrieving the radio and handing it over to Mike before continuing on his way. In the solitude of the desert, with the relentless sun beating down, Mike's mind begins to waver, and he starts to hallucinate, his grip on reality beginning to loosen. As another day turns into night, Mike finds himself engulfed in a sea of introspection and regret. He reflects on the mistakes of his past, particularly his decision to leave his girlfriend Jenny to undertake this mission. The weight of his choices and the isolation of his current situation weigh heavily on his heart. The following morning, a glimmer of hope surfaces when Mike receives a communication from his senior officer. However, this hope is quickly tampered by the news that the rescue team is delayed and will take an additional 17 hours to reach him. Faced with this information, Mike admits to his superiors that he can't endure any longer. In a compassionate gesture, Mike's superiors connect him with Jenny, his girlfriend, and overwhelmed with emotion, Mike deeply apologizes to her, expressing deep remorse for leaving her and for the turmoil that his decisions have caused. As his hallucinations begin to intensify, Mike envisions Jenny sitting on the couch in front of him right there in the desert. He reaches out to her, but his strength fades rapidly. At the brink of collapse, Mike was unexpectedly caught and supported by the mysterious man. The stranger then begins to tend to Mike's wounds, sharing a personal story of his own encounter with a landmine which resulted in the loss of his leg. He confides in Mike about how this incident felt like a total loss of his world, yet how he found renewed purpose and joy in life through meeting his wife and having a daughter. As their conversation deepens, Mike remarks on the beauty of the man's daughter, the same girl who had brought him water. The man reveals a heart-wrenching truth. His daughter is no longer alive, having died in a mine explosion during one of their outings to clear mines and replace them with tin cans. The man expresses a bittersweet gratitude for the girl's visitation to Mike, emphasizing the importance of moving forward in life regardless of the circumstances. After imparting this deep message, the man departs, leaving Mike to ponder the profound encounters and the lesson that in the face of life's trials, one must find the strength to keep moving forward. In a pivotal moment of the story, Mike hears a crucial update over the radio. The rescue team is nearby, but they need him to signal his precise location. Eagerly, he reaches for his flare, poised to reveal his whereabouts. However, before he can use it, the terrorists who had previously disrupted his mission re-emerge and fire at him over a nearby hill. The intensity of the shooting unexpectedly triggers a nearby landmine to explode, and the shockwave from the blast sends the flare flying from Mike's grasp, putting it frustratingly out of reach. Weak and overwhelmed, Mike struggles to return fire, and in this moment of desperation, thoughts of his girlfriend flood his mind, igniting in him a surge of motivation. Channeling this newfound determination, Mike ingeniously uses his gun to shoot at the ground, triggering a series of mine explosions around him, and the explosions kick up a cloud of sand and smoke, effectively concealing him from the enemy's view. Seizing this momentary advantage, Mike swiftly grabs his sniper rifle and skillfully eliminates the terrorists. With the immediate threat neutralized, Mike's attention turns back to the flare still lying beyond his reach. Recalling the wise words of the villager who had consulted him to keep moving forward, Mike makes a courageous decision. He takes a deep breath and steps forward, fully expecting the worst. Miraculously, there was no explosion, and to his astonishment and relief, he discovers that what he had feared was a deadly mine was in fact just a harmless tin can. This revelation was transformative to Mike, and the villager's advice resonates deeply with him, underscoring that it was fear, not reality, that had immobilized him all along. Empowered by this revelation, Mike is overcome with relief and bursts into tears, and with renewed vigor, he fires the flare into the sky and collapses, exhausted but alive. The rescue team, guided by the flare, quickly isolates Mike and ensures his safe return. The movie reaches its emotional climax at the airport, where Jenny, filled with joy and relief, eagerly awaits him. In a heartwarming conclusion, Mike, having survived his harrowing ordeal, wastes no time in proposing to Jenny, bringing the movie to a gratifying and happy end. I hope you guys enjoyed the recap. Make sure to leave me a like, leave a comment, also subscribe to my channel. I love you guys so much, and I promise to see you on my next recap. Bye!